Hi everybody, this is Amanda Ellis of amandaellis.co.uk, Facebook page Angelic Celestial Colours, and you're watching me on YouTube, Amanda Ellis 11. What day is it? I don't even know what day it is. It's Saturday, August the... oh God, I don't know. I've just got back from holiday. I'm not even going to check because I wasn't intending to make a video today, but I woke up this morning with a really urgent message from Archangel Metatron, and because I'm still catching up, you know, post-holiday, I thought, okay, I'll think about that. I'll do something on that message in a few days, and then I just had a message from a friend, which completely confirmed that this message needed to be got out today. So that's what I'm doing. So it's a little bit unexpected that I'm sitting here, hence I don't know to the date. We've basically just gone past the Lion's Gate and we are leading up to the eclipse on the 21st of August in America. So, and I'm saying in America because it's falling particularly across the USA, although it's going to have ramifications for the whole world. Let's just take a breath of air just to help me gather my thoughts, and then I will get going with what this message is that needs to be conveyed to you so urgently today. Let's just together take 3 breaths of air because I am going to be working fundamentally with the elements today, okay? So this is the Archangel Metatron air energy, cobalt blue. Putting it around myself, and let's just breathe in 3 times. Breathing in, pure air. Breathing out, pure air. Breathing in, pure air. Breathing out, pure air. Breathing in, pure air. Breathing out, pure air. And if you're sitting like me, I'm on a chair and my toes are doing their usual thing of, I put my toes up and my heels aren't on the floor. Put your heels down on the floor and let's just ground ourselves. So let's connect to the energy of Earth. And this is all about Mother Earth. This whole message is very much linked into Mother Earth. Let's just feel the safety of the earth underneath us, wherever you are watching this in the world. Whether you're in the north, the south, the east or the west, put your roots down and feel the earth as your home. And also feel the vulnerability of the earth at this moment as she prepares for some quite major geological happenings over the next few months, maybe even going into next year as well. So the thing to remember with the earth is that she loves us. She wants to carry us forward with the ascension journey that she is on, because she is a sentient being, but there are changes afoot. Now I'm just going to light some incense here before I say any more on that. It's funny, I got back from holiday and I had this compulsion that I had to change my whole room around. So you'll notice the Metatron picture that you're used to seeing, he's still over there. I'm basically positioned myself in this corner here, which is next to this window. And as I was doing it, I was thinking, why am I feeling I have to do this? And then I thought it's to do with the direction in which you are sitting. And I need to research this a little bit more, but I'm now pointing northwest. So, and I was pointing just west, I think, before. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that. It's not what this video is about. But ever since I got back, it's all been about the elements. It's been about designing my space, my working space, the position in which I'm working. I've got this compulsion to get fresh plants into the room. I'm going mad in terms of just clearing out clutter everywhere. It's really good. But as I say, I have got this message that I need to share, so I'm going to get on with that. But as I say, I was not expecting to make this, so you'll have to just bear with me as I sort of gear myself up for this live, as it were. Let's put this on. One of the things I was clearing out today was a drawer which was full of incense, and I've got loads of it. And this one's lovely actually because it's called Spirit Guide. Let's have that one on. I come back, I was in Italy, and the thing with the part of Italy that I was in is that they haven't had much rainfall. In fact, there has been very little rainfall, hardly anything over the last winter. And so the land is very parched there, very parched, very dry. There are forest fires in a lot of Italy, and Corsica, parts of Spain as well. And then I come back to the UK, and we're having one of the wettest summers on record, and everyone's moaning about the continual rainfall, and it's quite cool as well. Certainly about 20 degrees cooler this week than where I was last week. And it's this whole thing about nothing feels as though it's in balance, you know, going from one place which is too hot and too dry to this place now where I'm sitting where it feels too wet and too cold. And it feels symbolic of the whole world at the moment, which is that the world, and Mother Earth in particular, and the elements are out of balance. And I know that there is a lot happening in the world at the moment, particularly, I suspect some of you might be a little bit fearful and a bit frightened of some of the rhetoric that's coming out, particularly of America at the moment, North Korea, this whole sort of escalation of seemingly inevitable conflict and war, which is really resulting from two young souls, I'm talking here about the presidents, two young souls who haven't got the spiritual maturity and wisdom to be able to stop this escalating crisis. Having said that, I keep hearing the message that in terms of the wider world, all of us, it is, although the nuclear fear is real at the moment, I'm actually much more concerned about the geophysical issues which potentially are on our doorstep. And I'm really not wanting to scare anybody, and it's one of the reasons why I put off making this video this morning. I thought, I'm going to sit on this, maybe I've got it wrong, maybe, you know, maybe it doesn't need to be said. And then, as I say, I don't want to say what the confirmation was, but a very a real piece of confirmation came, and I thought, no, you've got to do it today. That doesn't mean that anything is going to happen today, but it does feel as though there are events that are to unfold potentially over the next couple of weeks leading up to eclipse, or over the next couple of months, or certainly over the next year. So we have a time frame here of either days, weeks, months. I'm sort of wanting to say years, but I'm literally only talking 1 to 2 at the maximum. Spirit, the spiritual world, whether you tune into archangels, ascended masters, you know, Jesus, whoever it is, the timeline is different. And so often when they say it's now, it isn't actually exactly now, but it's coming up soon. So it's very difficult to pinpoint exact timing when Spirit gives you a warning. But all I do know is that for my own sake, I need to say what needs to be said here. So I'm seeing a couple of flashpoints around the world. America in particular is showing quite strongly with regard to earthquake potential at the moment, okay? I'm also being shown Australia in terms of fires, although I know you're in your winter cycle, so that doesn't really make sense. But again, bear with me. Remember what I've just said about time frames not being linear. You know, I might be seeing something that's 6 months in the future, but I'm still going to say Australia. And on Lunar Eclipse on the 7th of August, I had a very, very, very sacred and special evening. I was sitting beside the Mediterranean Sea under the moonlight. We were meditating. I was in a group of 3, and it was just a very, very special time. It was quite a personal time, really, more than anything. I wasn't tuning into collective issues. I was really tuning into my own issues and asking for help and assistance with that. But there was one moment during the meditation where I very clearly heard the word Holland. And it wasn't just once. I kept hearing Holland, the Netherlands, over and over again, to such a point that I thought, what the hell is this about? Why am I hearing Holland? What on earth does that mean? And I was shown flooding. Now, Holland actually has fantastic flood defences because it is very flat and it's had to invest in that. So I suspect that what I was hearing or sensing from Spirit was actually almost like a code that they were giving me. And I know this sounds a bit strange, but it felt as though it wasn't necessarily for Holland, although it might be. It was actually for other low-lying areas of land, and that would include the UK, and it would include other parts, particularly of Northern Europe, where flood defences are not as good as they need to be. And so the way that Spirit was talking was, I heard Holland, then I started to tune into flooding, and then at the word, to be honest, flooding kept coming over and over again, at which point the sea, which was very tranquil and still beside me, started to really lap, you know, when it really comes in close to you and it's like really big waves coming in. Now I had my eyes closed, so I wasn't actually aware of what it looked like. But one of the ladies who did have her eyes open said it did actually come quite close to us, but I could tell it had anyway because I could hear it. I don't know how many times it happened, maybe it was 7 or 8, but there was certainly this movement of water that was coming towards me at the moment that I was tuning into flooding. So I'm really talking about 3 elements in particular that I'm picking up a warning on for the next few months. One is the element of water in terms of flooding. Secondly, the element of fire relating to fire. And thirdly, the element of earth relating, unfortunately, probably to earthquake. And so rather than this being a really depressing video in terms of, oh God, you know, let's create more fear and what can we do and we're all doomed, you know, that's not my style. That's not my style. It's not who I am. What I heard very clearly this morning was Metatron asking all of us to create a grid in your home, and I'll show you how to do that, to confer protection over your home, over your land, wherever it is that you are within the world. And I don't feel as though any of us should be actually complacent. If you take my example, I live in the UK. We are not on any big fault line. We don't have any active volcanoes near us. I live on a house that's sort of slightly up on a hill, so I should be okay in the event of flooding, but I'm really never ever complacent. And you know, I don't know the ins and outs of all of it, but I do know that there is a series of potential quakes that can happen within the Mediterranean rim, as it were, that if that were to happen at any point in time, it absolutely would reach the English coast. And I sit on the English coastline. It's where my house is. It's where I am. So in the back of my mind, I've always known this, that it's a potential scenario that one day could happen. And rather than just sitting here like a sitting duck waiting for that, I certainly do not live in fear of that eventuality, but I do have in my mind a contingency plan and also a train of thought that's already set in place as to what I would do in such an eventuality, okay? And part of my contingency plan, for example, is I know if there was time exactly where I would head to, And it is a head, it's Hengistbury Head. It's the tallest headland near where I live. It's about 5 minutes down the road, you know. And I'm encouraging you to really just, without going into fear mode, just to spend maybe a little bit of time in meditation, tuning into your guides, whether it's Metatron or anybody else, and just asking them for some guidance and contingency plans if anything were to happen relating to the elements, okay? I'm talking here about natural disasters is a word that's man-made, because that only looks at it from man's perspective. It's a disaster for man. It's never a disaster for the earth, because the earth is just doing what she does, which is that when she has pent up tension, she releases, and we get the earthquake. When the sea becomes too out of balance or there's too much rainfall, we get flooding. You know, it drains away. It can then create further problems. But the earth has this amazing ability to be able to balance itself out. And effectively, that's the period that we're coming up to. We're coming up to a period of balancing of the earth. So it isn't a disaster in terms of Gaia, but it is an inconvenience, and maybe more than that, in terms of us and our lives. But I have the absolute assurance, and I can look you in the eye here and say this, that the guidance that I got from Archangel Metatron today is that you are safe, but you need to do some basic procedural, spiritual observances, effectively, to create harmony around your home, around your family, around your land, okay? And the easiest and the simplest way to do it is to create a grid, okay? Now, those of you that don't know what a grid is, it's really, really simple. You know that I work with Archangel Metatron, so you know that I work with sacred geometry. And there are two particular pieces of sacred geometry that I'm recommending. One is this, which is the Flower of Life. Okay, so this is like a grid template, but to be honest, you can go onto Google and you can Google Flower of Life, and you can just print off the Flower of Life as an image on a piece of paper, and it worked just as fine. It's the Flower of Life, and the other one, of course, is Metatron's Cube. This is Metatron's Cube. There are many other grid templates you can follow. I'm just trying to give some simple, basic guidance here, so that we have it covered, and then anything that is additional to that you can add to, and maybe you can also help each other via my YouTube page, via my Facebook page, to give each other some tips as well in terms of maybe good crystals or good affirmations or sprays or colours to create the grid. So this is your grid, okay? I'm going to use this one just because I think it looks so pretty. So this is the Flower of Life. And what you do is, it's like anything. At the moment, this is just a piece of plastic, okay? It's got the pattern on it. But as with anything, it works for you when you energize it. And by that, I'm just talking about that you literally spend 5 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 minutes just tuning in to the symbol that you're using as the foundation for your grid. And like you would a crystal, just placing your hand upon it and asking it to do the job that you are asking it to do. So here we are asking this grid to please protect my home and my land from the threat of, you could use all three if you want, the threat of fire, flood, earthquake, you know, you can put anything into it really. Let's just say that, to protect my home from the threat of flood, fire, earthquake, okay? And you will feel the energy flow into that, okay? So we've now set the intention that this is what this grid is about. And then you can really place anything upon the grid that you want to. Obviously I've got my Metatron element sprays, so of course I'm going to use some of those. I've got the element of earth, I've got the element of fire, I've got the element of water. Onto the grid now, I can place however many crystals I want. I'm just going to place the ones that I literally have to hand on my desk, okay? I have got a piece of black tourmaline, for example, which is a protective crystal. I could put that onto there. And what else have I got sitting here on my desk? Ooh, don't do what I've just done and throw your grid around this room. What else have I got here? I've actually got the crystals that were attuned on Lion's Gate and the Lunar Eclipse. So I've got a piece of amber. I've got my sunstone, which is the eclipse stone. I have got dragon's blood crystal. And I have got, oh, I can never remember this crystal's name. How ridiculous. It's the green meteorite. You'll all tell me what it is. I know what it is. The name of it keeps escaping me. Anyway, I'll put it on there. You get the idea, okay? And obviously the idea is that you tune in to the crystals that you feel that you need that can offer protection for yourself, for your home. So you could also put onto that some blue crystals, blue lace agate, for example. You could put on the, I haven't got it to hand, but the Archangel Michael spray that I make as well. Any of you that use my blue sprays, you know, any of them will do. Blue is a very protective colour. If you are tuned in and believe in, for example, Mother Mary comes in on the Blu-ray as well. But it's all about setting the intention. And then when you've got your grid set up, the idea is also to maybe put some things which represent the elements that you're trying to balance. So whether it's feathers, whether it's shells representing water, feathers representing air, of course, flowers representing the earth. It doesn't matter how you do it. It doesn't matter what you have on it. It is more to do with the fact that it's your energy creating it, and it's you asking Spirit, Metatron, the elements, to help you create this grid, and then for that grid to stay in your home, somewhere where you're going to see it fairly regularly, and it sits there as in effect, it's like a portal that keeps you and your land and yourself safe from these geophysical things that are to come in, okay? And the analogy I was given, and it's not a particularly nice analogy, but I'm going to give it anyway, because maybe these are times where we need to be a little bit brave and bold, actually, in what we say, and not sort of pussyfoot around and pretend it's something that it isn't. Again, I'm struggling here because I'm going back to my, it is a Christian reference, so apologies if, you know, you're not Christian and you're offended by me when I sometimes mention references to the New Testament. I'm not ramming Christianity down anybody's throat. It's just my background. It's what I come from. So these are my reference points. And it was called something. It's just after, the analogy is just after Jesus was born. And I think it was Herod who sent out the decree for every firstborn son to be killed. And there was something along the lines of that if you put a cross on your door, I think it was a cross or something like that, that you would be spared, that house would be spared. And that's what I'm hearing. You don't have to daub your house in anything. The grid is what does that, okay? So whatever is to pass, and it's going to be different for every part of the world, whatever is to pass by creating the grid, okay, and the grid can have anything on it. It doesn't have to be expensive. As I say, it can be a piece of paper that you print off from Google with the flower of life or Metatron's cube on, and you could colour it in. You could go into the garden and put some twigs on, some acorns, some flowers, a few crystals, a few shells from the beach. It doesn't have to be expensive things. It's the intention. But by having the grid within, by having the grid within your home, it enables whatever is to pass in your part of the world to bypass you. okay? In the same way, that story of Jesus and Herod, by them placing the sign upon their door, the destruction that was going on around them in their community didn't affect them. It bypassed them. And that is the promise from Spirit to you, okay? And you can see now why I was a little bit hesitant at putting up this video, because I really don't want to instill fear in people. But we are in times where you've got to be courageous, okay? And we have to step up to the mark, and we have to be strong. And the other thing Metatron's saying to me here as well is, for those people who don't feel strong at the moment, and for example, maybe you've got people in your own life who you worry about, you could also set up a grid for them in a different part of the world. So as an example, I don't know, say you've got a son or daughter and they're living in a completely different part of the world to you. Being a mum, I can understand that. I would be worried. Create a little grid for them in your home, but again, just make it very clear to Spirit that this is, you know, this is Sophie's grid, this is Lucy's grid, this is whoever your children are, or whoever your friends are. You know, make sure that you do that as well. That bottle that just flew off my desk, let me go and grab it, is the Cosmos spray. So when bottles do that, and it's really lively, it feels like it's got something it wants to add. So let me just tune into what the Cosmos elemental energy wants to say to us. I'm going to pick up my starseed crystal at this point, because he wants to say something. And we're coming back to the nuclear threat here, okay? And we are being reminded, and we are being assured that our place in the universe, our place in the galaxy is stable. And whatever too petulant, I'm sorry to say that, but it's the words I'm getting, too petulant leaders create, they do not have the power, they do not have the ability to annihilate the world. It's as simple as that. What they can do is create problems at a more local area. But I think the message I'm feeling here is for all of us to, I'm sorry, this is quite a strongly worded video, and I know it is, but I'm feeling the energy is very much about, come on, let's man up a bit, you know, let's grow up a bit, let's link in to all of the lifetimes that we've had previously upon this earth, all of the wisdom that we've got within ourselves, all of the spiritual maturity that we do have, okay? And we might have been burying our head in the sand and thinking, no, that's not me, but it is you, you know? And this is the time to stand up and be counted. And to not fear anything that is coming. What are you trying to say to me? It's as though what I'm being shown is that around our planet there are so many star beings. I'm hearing the word star beings in particular, from other galaxies, from other places, that is holding the Earth within what I can only describe as a net. That's what it looks like, but it's not a soft, flexible thing. It's actually quite rigid. It's a bit like a girdle. That's what it looks like. And it's holding the Earth very strongly through these times. Very much like, because we know the Earth is effectively giving birth to her 5D self, her 7th dimensional self, leaving the 3rd dimensional reality behind. And very much like human birth, just before I've spoken about this, I know, before in previous videos, but just before you give birth, somebody often physically holds you. I remember when I gave birth to Sophie in water, I think my husband actually physically had to hold me down in the pool, because I would have done anything to have not been there, to have been not going through that experience at that moment in time. It was so unbearably painful, and he just held me, so I suppose I couldn't injure myself or the child that was trying to come out. And that's what I'm being shown here by these star beings. They are circling around our planet at the moment, and they will ensure that Earth survives, okay? That the planet survives, that not too much damage is done to it. And when I was talking just before about, come on, let's man up, let's dig deep into our spiritual maturity, I'm also feeling as though there is something coming up here to do with, put it this way, I'm 50. So I wasn't born when the Second World War was happening. Didn't live through it. Didn't live through the end of it. The Second World War ended with an atomic bomb, okay? And it's very much brushed over, you know? Nobody ever wants to really look at that. Nobody ever wants to really acknowledge what happened at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It's almost like a painful, dirty little secret that's been swept under the cupboard. And I feel as though what Spirit is saying here is, look at it. It's happened before. It can happen again. Doesn't mean it's going to happen again, okay? I didn't say that. But that's why they're talking about spiritual maturity. It's like, come on, mankind, you've already done this once. And what I was taught was that when that happened, at the end of the Second World War and the bomb went off, there were so many of these star beings that raced in to help us, to cleanse the planet of what it had done. It could see what we were capable of, basically, i.e. blowing ourselves up. And they've stayed. They're still here. And whereas before they weren't necessarily around the planet at that moment in 1945, 1946, but they rushed in as soon as they saw it, they're already here now. That's what I'm trying to convey to you. And I'm wanting you to feel the protection and the safety that comes with that. That these beautiful star beings are around. They are protecting the world at this time. So that is one aspect that's going on. Almost like as above, so below. So as above, we've got these star beings protecting the world from the nuclear threat. As below, we actually have Mother Earth, and she's asking us, rather than the star beings come in, she's asking us to work with the elementals to help her bring her back into balance. I pulled a few cards before I started. The first two, quite self-explanatory. They're from the Denise Lynn Native Spirit deck. Spirit Keeper of the North and Spirit Keeper of the South. I haven't got Spirit Keeper of the East, Spirit Keeper of the West, actually. I've just got the North and the South. So to me, the fact that I've pulled the North and the South, I'm immediately drawn to the two poles, the North Pole, the South Pole. And I feel as though what I'm being shown here, I know I often talk about ships, but I'm being shown a different type of ship. I'm being shown that we are all effectively on one great big huge collective ship. And at the end of the day, what needs to happen, it's a bit like being on an aeroplane, okay? If everybody sat at the top end of the aeroplane would go down. If everyone sat at the back of the aeroplane would go. It wouldn't be a very comfortable ride. You know, the plane might sort of be able to fly, but it wouldn't be a very nice experience. So whether you're a boat or whether you're an aeroplane, what they do is they space out passengers, don't they? So that there is an equal load. And what I actually feel, this is why I'm talking to you and I'm actually looking at you, I'm recording this video from the northwest direction. It's as though I've had to change my position. This is where I sit most of the day, okay? So this is an important room for me. I'm not going to be going to every room of my house and making sure I position myself in the northwest. But in all seriousness, if you've got a room in your house and you're either in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, you need to be respecting the direction in which you point, okay? So if you're in the northern hemisphere, you need to be doing something to honour the north, and if you're in the southern hemisphere, you need to be doing something to honour the south. Both ends need to be stable, okay? And the ship effectively is the one that carries us through these geological changes to come. Feels as though I should maybe read the meaning of those two cards to you. So let's do that. Let's see what Spirit Keeper of the North says for those of you in the northern hemisphere. And then we'll do the same for the south. Here we go. Spirit Keeper of the North. So for those of you in the northern hemisphere, this is your guidance. Take time for contemplation, turn within, connect with your ancestors, incubate ideas, mend relationships, watch your dreams, meditate. The answers are inside you waiting to be heard. Stay warm, create dreams for your future, repair whatever is broken in your home and your life. Forgive those people and situations that you've been dragging around for a while. Now in the medicine wheel, the north is the direction that symbolises the darkest time of the night, the coldest part of winter, the dark of the moon. And it also represents the elder time of life and even a time of endings. Right, that's the bit that's important, that last bit, okay? And it's asking us to stand outdoors at night, facing north, to inhale the darkness, to sink into your own depth, and in the stillness, ancient wisdom emerges. So in a way, in the northern hemisphere at the moment, it's almost like the dark night of the soul type territory, okay? I suspect that the Spirit Keeper of the South is the complete opposite. Let's see what it says. So Spirit Keeper of the South. In the medicine wheel, the south is the direction that symbolises the warmth of the noonday sun, summertime, the full moon, and a time of rapid growth. Crops grow with vigour during the summer months, and in the human cycle it also represents the vitality of childhood. It's your time to shine. I'm not going to read all the other bits, I don't think it's as relevant, and your piece of advice is to stand facing south during the midday. Close your eyes and feel the warmth of the sun opening your heart centre. Absorb the sunlight as you sense yourself absorbing the abundance of the universe. I think these two cards are a message for the whole world, which is that the balance between the dark and the light is out of balance, okay? And so therefore, if we can do our bit in the hemisphere that we're in to just honour where we are, and other people in the other part of the hemisphere can honour where they are, and not moan about it's too hot, it's too wet, it's too this, it's too that. It is what it is. It's in the north or it's in the south. I feel that's what we're being asked to do. Two other cards that came up. Prayer feather. I rather like this image. Can you see that? So this could be something, maybe it's just another little thing to do as well as a grid, which is for you to set up some, these are just feathers effectively that are hanging from a tree. Maybe it's a tree in your garden. Maybe it's a tree beside your house. Maybe it's a tree beside where you work. And it's indicative of just literally, as it says, offering some prayers. But over and above anything else, it's also offering some prayers to the land, to the elements that are around you. Okay. The other card we've got is Medicine Woman, Medicine Man. This for me is what I was trying to talk about earlier, which is like own the fact that you are that. You are the medicine woman. You are the medicine man. You know how to do this stuff. It's within you. when I came back from Italy, as I say, they hadn't had rain for about, or for the whole of the last winter. And on the day I left, it didn't rain for very long, but it rained for 10 minutes. I joked and said maybe it was 11 minutes, but it was 10 minutes, I think. Now, my daughter said to me, oh my God, you turned into a white witch or something. No, it wasn't about that. It was just about the fact that it was almost as though I'm nothing special. You are as special as me. We're all as special as each other. We can all do this. It's as though I went, I saw the land was parched, and I didn't realise what I'd done, but effectively I had done that. I'd asked for rain to come to that land. You know, I was an outsider coming into that place, being able to see very clearly what it needed, with a fresh perspective, with fresh energy, able to do that. We're all able to do that. Think about the old indigenous tribes when they did their rain dances or sun dances. I'm not asking you to do that. It's to do with prayer. It's to do with the power of prayer. It's to do with the power of intention. It's to do with owning the fact that you are the medicine man, you are the medicine woman, and that you have within you the ability to help the earth stabilise these two poles. And at the moment, it's the poles from north to south that, or it's the direction, those two directions that the spirit are particularly pulling in. Okay. 1, 2. I've got 4 cards. Let's pull a 5th to go in the middle from the same deck, and let's just see what we get. Okay. Oh, okay. That one's fallen out. White buffalo. I have no idea what that means, so I'm going to read the book. White buffalo. Okay, let's read what it says. I was watching a video on the eclipses actually earlier today, and it was an astrologer, and one of the things he said was, he said, when you don't know, say you don't know. I thought, yeah, it's really, really true. Don't try and blag it. If you don't know, you don't know. Turn to the expert that does. There's a lady that's written this book, Denise Lynn. Let's see what she has to say. White buffalo. Remember, this is a message for all of us. Abundance and security are flowing into your life. All things are possible. Balance and harmony prevail. You may be called upon to stand up for others, but you can do this because you have the support of many beings in the spiritual realm. And it says, in Native American traditions, there are prophecies about the coming of the white buffalo, especially among the Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota. There's a legend that the white buffalo calf woman, a mystical being, came to the people a very long time ago when they were out of balance. She gifted the people with a sacred bundle containing the white buffalo calf pipe to help restore the balance. Upon leaving, the white buffalo calf woman prophesies that she will return at the end of an age and that she will appear as a white buffalo calf. In recent times, white buffalo calves have been born, leading many to believe that this is a beginning of a new time. When this card chooses you, it's an honour, for it speaks of a time of miracles and balance in all things. You are a channel for the greater forces in the universe. With their help, all is possible. Surrender to support from the Great Spirit. You do not have to do anything alone. And it says the journey, shape shift into the white buffalo, and the energy this card brings will multiply tenfold. Imagine that you can feel the power in your muscles and the earth beneath your hooves. Feel the weight of your horns and the warmth of your hide. This calls the deeper energies of white buffalo into your life. And I feel what I'd like to do at this point is just put the card up. I'm going to spray the white Metatron spray, and let's just channel the energy of this white buffalo calf, because it feels as though this is confirming what I've said, that the earth is out of balance. It is going to do what it needs to do to correct itself. But the help is here that we need. The white calves are here that we need. And I feel this will be true of many other animals that are white, whether it's a white horse, whether it's, I don't know, actually I was with a beautiful white dog all last week. It's to do with the symbolism. Let's channel the white buffalo, or this is the energy that wants to come through. Just surround yourself in white. Feel the strength. Feel the precision. Feel the clarity. Feel the connection between earth and spirit. And this animal is saying to you that animals know when danger is upon them, and animals flee to higher ground or remove themselves from difficulty when they know they need to. This animal, the white buffalo, does the reverse. She comes back when she is needed. When others are retreating, she advances, and she stands her ground, and she waits, and she holds the space. And she creates a safe environment, a safe passage through these times. Call upon the white buffalo at this time to be beside you at any time that you feel fear with the changes that are to come in. All is well. Feel her strength. This is her time. You are part of her tribe. She is coming back to help. She's strong. Can you feel that? I hope you can, because there's just such a grounded strength and all is well type energy coming up with her. Yeah, I just pulled two other cards. Either side of her we have Grandmother Earth and we have nature spirits. Metatron did want me to mention that, of course, when I talk about the elementals, which are fire, earth, water, air, cosmos, certainly within the Metatron range, you know, it encompasses all of the spirit beings that live within those elements. So for fire, it's the salamanders, the lizards. For water, it's the dolphins, it's the mermaids. For it's different for all of them. For earth, it's the gnomes, it's the fairies. It's that there is so much within all of the elements. And what these cards are saying is that we've got three powerful helpers coming in. As the earth transforms and shifts, we have Gaia herself, who's shifting. We've got the galactic beings that are around her. We have you. We have you as help. You're the medicine man or the medicine woman. We have nature spirits. And we have white buffalo. Do not fear anything that is to come. Just listen to what I've said. Re-listen to it if you need to. Create your grid. And also maybe create an affirmation for yourself. It could be as simple as I am safe. You know, it could be as simple as that. You know, it needs to come from you. It's not about me telling you what your affirmation is. Go into meditation, sink into your heart. What do you need to say to yourself to make yourself feel safe, secure, and supported through these times? Because you are. Okay, everyone, much love. I will do another video probably in the lead up to the August the 21st eclipse. So I'm just looking at my phone here, and actually it's the 12th of August today. I didn't know what the date was when we started. It's the 12th of August, so you know when I've made this. Probably important to date stamp it as well. Lots of love, everybody. Remember, we're all in it together and we're all in that boat together and we will all be fine. Much love. Bye-bye.